Hello and welcome to Crafted the Draft's latest Coates Talent League club by club preview. And today we'll be looking over at the Calder Cannons and their 2025 prospects. And do that with me is Crafted the Draft analyst Jonty Rell Smith. Jonty, how are you?
Yes, very good. We've got a potential pick one at Calder to preview.
Yeah, let's get straight into it. Cooper Duff-Tytler has had a sensational bottom age campaign for Calder and some representative football as well. Talk about the Future Stars game. And as this, a high upside, key position, ruck forward, hybrid type player. They don't grow on trees, although we might see a few of them in this year's draft crop. And he could be, like you said, the number one come November.
Yeah, he certainly could be. The things he was able to do last year was absolutely phenomenal. We talked about that futures game where he was strong. He was one of the better players on in the under-17s trial game out at Werribee, and I watched him play a really good game at Shepley Oval against the Dandenong Stingrays, and they stand out as three of the stronger games that he played. And he was actually, I think, towards the back end of last year, just managing a little bit of injury or soreness. So to be able to play through that and show his resilience and then still produce the level of footy that he did was really, really impressive. And yeah, like you said, he's got the height, but he's also got the mobility and ability below his knees to become that fourth midfielder when the ball does hit the ground, and he can impact in transition, and his ability to get contest to contest is phenomenal. And yeah, when you talk about his dexterity, it's that basketball background that certainly helps him out. So yeah, there's a lot of them in this year's draft class who have that basketball background. Riley Onley, Willem Dersma and Jasper Hay are a few that immediately spring to mind who have that high-level basketball background. But yeah, he got to Nationals to play for Australia last year, had a big decision to make and chose footy ultimately. And yeah, I think there is a lot of people around the talent pathways industry who are quite happy with that decision because, yeah, his upside, like you said, is as high as anyone in this year's crop.
Yeah, Alex Dodson, another one who St Kilda was rapt to have not only pick AFL over basketball, then eventually land in their list quite late in the draft as well. So that was one story from last year's draft. And another was, Calder having three picked. And one of them, Harry O'Farrell, a key position player as well, who, they're looking to get more and more out of. We saw Jordan Croft the year prior, and then some of the success they've had with key position players. So Duff-Tytler might just follow that chain and be arguably the best of the lot that we've seen for some time out of Calder. But he will have some support, and particularly from some overage talent this year. So Cooper Herbert's going to be one that will make his case as a potential mid-season draft opportunity, or if he can put together a strong full season, an overage selection come November this year. Where do you see his, overage 19-year-old campaign entering, and what can we expect from him, at least from the start of his campaign?
Yeah, I think they'll give him every opportunity inside 50 to be the main man in there and show what he can do as a really powerful athlete. That's what put him on the map. Probably it was really late in the year last season where he captured the interest, and it's probably a result of that athletic profile, the vertical leap in particular. He's got good stride when he does get into his running as well, so it can be quite hard to stop and quite damaging. I think if you were to liken him to a player that, could be, he could try to emulate from last year, it's Will McLaughlin. So yeah, look for that sort of player who's got the ability to pop up and kick goals, and probably play a little bit taller than his height would suggest, given that vertical leap. But yeah, there's a fair bit of excitement out of Calder about him. And then some other 19-year-olds. Jack Ryan's another one who's quite a good athlete, played a little bit everywhere last year. Probably his volume of disposal was on the lower end, but he's one that you really noticed had a lot of X factor. So he'll return as a 19-year-old. Khaled Al-Koda is a really good story. He played some good senior footy for Pascoe Vale in 2024 after being initially overlooked for the Calder Cannon squad. Came back late in the year, played a really good game on Luke Traynor. And yeah, he's another 190 plus centimetre player to note. And then Gus Papple down back played some strong school footy for Pegs. So the AGSV competition, which Pegs play in, is probably seen as a little bit weaker than the APS competition. But yeah, his ability to intercept mark was quite impressive there. I think the next step for him is probably showing what he can do one-on-one. So look for him to get some key forward matchups this year and hopefully win them and put his name on the radar. They're the 19-year-olds for Calder to keep an eye out for, Mitch.
And then obviously some of the top age players who are going to be headline acts for them this year. So Hussien El Achkar, an Essendon NGA prospect who will look to follow in the footsteps of Isaac Kako from last year. And then Felix Knipe as well, two players that are going to be of great focus for the Calder Cannons in 2025.
Yeah, we say Hussien El Achkar will follow in the footsteps of Isaac Kako to Essendon. He might even play a similar role, it sounds like, to Isaac Kako at the Calder Cannons in terms of being that small forward whose pressure is really good. He's got the ability to kick goals and has speed in the front half, but he'll get spurts in the midfield and show what he can do as a high half forward, like what Isaac Kako did last year, just to show a couple of different elements to his game. So I don't necessarily want to say he's seen in the same regard as what Isaac Kako was coming into his top aged year, but yeah, he certainly had a strong preseason and will play that similar sort of role. So one for Essendon fans to keep an eye on. If everything plays out as it could, then Essendon could go from a couple of decades of really struggling with that front half pressure and that ground level presence inside 50 to possibly getting a small forward in 2 consecutive years. And then, you mentioned Felix Knipe. He got a lot of attention because he played a 48 disposal game for Wesley College, his school, last year. So he's a natural ball winner, clearly, but he probably played his best footy off half back for the Calder Cannons. Didn't quite break into the midfield regularly as a bottom major, but he certainly will this year, which is where he'll be able to show off his kicking and his sort of front half game and what he can do around stoppage. So, look for him. He's one who could build into the season quite nicely.
And we talk about some of the other players who, I think you mentioned Gus Papel earlier as a key defender, but next to him, Jackson Barber will be one, Hamish Bird as well, another one looking to lock down a position. Do you want to discuss a couple of those guys and where you see their prospects and their potential reaching this year?
Yeah, so Hamish Bird's one who'll spend some time in the midfield this year, hopefully gets a Vic Metro trial. If he plays Vic Metro, he's probably playing as a rebound defender, I would suggest. But his kicking is really good and he's got some really good skills and composure as well. I like what he produced for Calder last year. I know they were very, very glowing in their praise of him in terms of his ability to sort of plug a hole wherever they sort of needed him last year. And that versatility and footy smarts really showed through. But hopefully he's able to impact on the footy this year. And himself and Jackson Barber are the 2 co-captains for Calder this year, both really energetic leaders. And Jackson Barber will partner Gus Papel, who I touched on before, as key defenders in the back line. Jackson Barber, a really good kick, a really good field kick, as well as his ability to read the flight of the ball quite well. So they'll no doubt, Jackson Barber and Gus Papel as well will get a lot of opportunities to play on some strong forwards this year, given there is a few top end forwards floating around in the talent league, like your Liam Heathertons, your Louis Emmets, and they'll play on Cooper Duff-Tytler, no doubt, at training as well. Archie Ludovic, another one from the Sandy Dragons. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how they sort of tag team those 2 together.
Another defensive asset for them will be Jack Dodorico, a bottom major though, who will give himself a couple of years to really make his case as an AFL-worthy prospect. How do you have you seen his game to date, and what level do you think he can reach as a bottom major for the Calder Cannons?
Yeah, he's one who, he's got the ability to lock down and has that sort of nous in defensive 50 and calmness as well. I think what he showed at the under-16s national championships was really, really strong, and he's probably the best of the Calder Cannons from that championships, performed really strongly. But then they've also got a couple of club-tied players as well in Levi West, or he certainly didn't play at the championships as a result of injury, but same age, coming through as a bottom major. There's some excitement about what he could become as a forward midfielder, probably plays more as a midfielder in his top age year, might have to bide his time a little bit in his bottom age year, but what he can do around clearance is really strong. And then Sam Harris, the son of North Melbourne's Daniel Harris, is another one who is in a similar vein as a forward midfielder. So, a couple to monitor, a North father-son and a Western Bulldogs father-son, the son of Scott West, brother of Riley West with Levi.
And we've already mentioned El Achkar, but given the region of the Cannons and where they're positioned and where they fall under Essendon's off an NGA map, it's kind of a little gold mine for them at the moment after they've got Isaac Kako last year, but they've got plenty of other names coming through as NGA prospects who are part of the Cannons pathways, who should Bombers fans also be keeping an eye on this year.
Yeah, they've got a few in the squad. It'll be interesting to see which of the names pop up. Alex Alessio returns as a 19-year-old. I probably should have mentioned him before, but he's a key position prospect. So, look out for him. Hopefully he can start the season quite strongly, put his name on draft radars. Blake Justice is a natural ball winner to look out for. Tristan Lead is returning from an ACL injury. Olu Olalakan is a marking defender. Jad Name is the brother of Amin Name, who draft watchers might remember a couple of years ago kicked a lot of goals for Calder, just missed out on getting drafted though, and then was listed at Essendon's VFL side last year. But yeah, he's a little bit different to his brother, probably more of a winger, more of a running type of player, where his brother was a forward. And then Adam Swade is another returning from an ACL injury who they're quite excited about what he could do up forward, complementing Hussien El Achkar with his crumbing ability.
Well, that wraps up our coverage of the Calder Cannons. Jonty, thanks as always for your analysis.
No worries. Thanks, Mitch.
And Calder's season gets underway with a clash against Oakley, who knocked them off in the finals last year. And for all our other club-by-club Coates Talent League coverage, you can head over to Zero Hanger's YouTube, and you can go to zerohanger.com for all the latest draft news, views, and opinions.